Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Chris, and wow, today we have a lot to talk about. So, first and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room. Finally, they got that ass Zawahiri, who helped plan the 9/11 attacks. Now, again, there's going to be the whole political component. Let's leave that aside. It doesn't matter who killed the dude. The bottom line is the U.S. military did a great job. It shows that the U.S. doesn't forget, and as anyone who actually lived through the 9/11, the big thing now is that you don't realize how much that changed everything as far as the world you currently live in. Even if you weren't alive at that time, and you let's say you were born in the early 2000s, the fact that that occurred changed everything about how life is conducted here in the United States. I mean, realistically, because of 9/11, you gave up more freedoms than you could ever imagine. And life just isn't the same post 9/11. So, you can delve into the conspiracy theories like, oh, Bush knew, or, whatever. That's besides the point. The bottom line is that it is a great victory for the United States military to finally get their man. Just like bin Laden after 9/11. This guy, and if you ever watched the old videos, if you lived during that time period, this guy was always right there with him. This guy was always mentioned in the same breath as bin Laden. And to see that they finally delivered justice for the dude is a big win. So kudos to them to finally getting their man. Secondly, I find it particularly fitting that precious metals played their part in delivering justice. The Hellfire missile, I believe, has something like 150 ounces of silver in it, and probably some gold in there for certain components. So precious metals delivered justice to the Al-Qaeda terrorists, and I'm perfectly good for that. If they ever need a donation from me to deliver some more justice, I'm more than willing to sacrifice some of my stack for it. But again, regardless of your political affiliation, it's a great day when justice is served, especially in things like that. Now, again, the narratives that are going to come out with politics. Oh, well, we violated an agreement with Afghanistan, or this, that, and the other thing. You know what? That whole area has been a mess since we first got in there. And had 9/11 never taken place, we wouldn't have been there in the first place. So, again, nice to see someone get their just desserts, and especially, like I said, silver and gold play their part. Now, secondly, here's another interesting thing. Now, again, as many of you know, I'm a huge fan of Tom Clancy. Huge fan. I've been reading his books since I was a kid. Even when, when I was a kid, the context of the books is, they're pretty advanced. They deal with a lot of geopolitical stuff, obviously the military stuff. But again, I feel like Tom Clancy called this one really and truly. Now, I forget exactly what the name of the book is. I believe it's called Executive Decisions or Executive Orders. It's the book right after Dead of Honor. Anyway, in the book, and this is so crazy, again, hear me out on this one. It's going to take me about 2 minutes to explain it, but you need to listen to this. All right, in the book, Middle Eastern terrorists, basically like an Iran-led coalition of Middle East states, kind of try to form a new country. Like they band together, like Iran and some of the countries nearby try to band together and form like a new Arab state. And the leader of this state, or at least the religious leader, he basically cooks up an idea to send terrorists to the United States and infect them with Ebola. And basically, the way that they did it was they put it at trade shows and spread it and things like that. And the trade show people went back to their cities and spread it that way. So it worked. It ended up starting a pandemic in the United States. Well, the book is about how they dealt with the pandemic, all of that. But the key is, at the end of the book, they finally trace it back to the Arab terrorists and the mastermind guy, and the ending of the book is the United States, the president Jack Ryan, who's the main character in many of the Clancy novels, is giving a speech. He's giving a speech to the American people, and they live stream a picture and like it's a house with like a light on, and there's a guy that walks. I think he was walking out to the balcony, and they dropped a bomb on him in a live feed so that America could see that that they had killed him in retaliation for starting the pandemic. But I found it pretty interesting that that this terrorist, who, although he wasn't responsible for the pandemic, he did change America in a fundamental way, that justice was delivered with him being on his balcony. In his case, in Zawahiri's case, it was for breakfast or whatever that they were doing out there on the patio. But pretty interesting day. Pretty interesting day for, again, precious metals delivering justice. And who would have known silver and gold being the American justice system. But then on top of that, like I said, for me, the context of, wow, damn, Clancy got it again. And this isn't one of those Nostradamus prophecies where you could read it different ways and interpret it and say, oh, it fits this situation, it fits that. No, I mean, it's pretty interesting to me that, again, Clancy predicted a pandemic. In his case, obviously, I mean, a pandemic, I guess you could say that, it was possible at any time. But in Clancy's case, obviously, it was a state-sponsored pandemic. It was terrorism, where they spread Ebola throughout the United States. But the fact that the mastermind, Middle Eastern mastermind, ends up getting a miss. In that case, it was a bomb from a stealth fighter, or a stealth bomber. Stealth bomber. In this case, it was obviously a hellfire missile from a drone. But either way, for them to get their just desserts is definitely a win in my book. And again, for a lot of people, I was looking at a YouTube video earlier of like Tucker Carlson like talking about, well, why is Biden focusing on that? Shouldn't he be focusing on the disaster that is Afghanistan? Again, Afghanistan's been a disaster since we went there. There's been very little positive out of Afghanistan. I mean, it was a total debacle for 20 years. I'm glad that we're done with it. But, Zawahiri as a terrorist, obviously we know him from 9/11, but this guy was active way before then. I mean, he's been involved in like the embassy bombings and I can't remember the African countries' names. Yeah, the same countries where Black Hawk Down took place. I forget, Rwanda and... forget the other places, but just terrorist acts all over. This guy had been in the game for a long time, and to see him get sent back to his god in retirement, fine, good. I mean, the bottom line is, again, the U.S. military didn't forget. They got their man. I personally am happy about it. I wouldn't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the people who do this are the intelligence community who found out where this guy was, and the military who carries out the operation to kill him. Period. End of story. Yes, does the president participate in, I guess, the decision, especially since we went into a quote-unquote sovereign nation to go attack a terrorist? Yeah, I guess, but yeah, I mean, the reality is we're down one more Al-Qaeda terrorist, and I'm happy about that. So anyway, that's it for today. See you later.